Dear Twin Flame souls out there, welcome to the Twin Flame Awakening Journey podcast, and today is an episode 155. Today is one of the episodes that continues from the healing part, and I remember that on my last podcast when I talked about the stages of the healing on Twin Flame Journey, I didn't mention the fact that healing is not linear. Meaning of the stages, in a sense, are not going to be that you have one goal, another goal, the third goal, and everything is going to be like this. Healing is not a straight path, it's a spiral. So as we grow, we release, we expand, we often can find ourselves again going back to these old emotions and situations. And I hear this very often when it comes to me, that I felt so good already. I felt this union. I felt this oneness. I felt over there. And now I'm back in the beginning. But you are not back in the beginning. And in today's episode, I'm going to explain about it, why healing is not linear, why the universe might be actually protecting you while you are on this journey in terms of when it comes to the union with your divine counterpart and you feel it's delayed or out of reach and it's not going to happen. But sometimes, and actually I'm not going to even use the word sometimes, most of the times, the separation itself is sacred. I've always said on my calls and everywhere that whoever designed this idea of twin flames and we awaken through this intense love that we never felt before, love that made us feel home, love that made us awake again, and love that transformed and changed whoever we are. I always say to people that you're never going to be the same person once you have this encounter. Does it always mean that it has to be the relationship? And I'm just going to say, again, repeating here, twin flames are not in that sense designed to be the romantic relationship. It doesn't mean you cannot have the romantic relationship. But if you treat this only in a base of romantic relationship, you're gonna spiral in pain for a very long time. And that's why I talk about the healing and aligning and becoming your higher self. Everyone's twin flame journey is different, and that's why I love when you share your journey with me. You share the pain with me, you share your stories. Because even though there is something very common that is there, the journeys are not going to be the exact one-on-one the same. Same with healing, same with where you are. And coming back to that, the separation itself is sacred, because it helps you to create the space we need to build for energetic stability, heal the nervous system patterns, and what is the most important part over here? Learn to hold unconditional love without an attachment. And I'm going to repeat this one more time. Learn to hold unconditional love without attachment. We know the love so far that I love you and you love me and I like you, you look beautiful, you have this, you have that, you are smart, you are this, and you make me feel. But that's an attachment. I like someone because of something. But unconditional love is not that, and that's what your twin flame came to teach you, that. And no matter how painful it is, and I know it's painful, but it's painful because of the idea of love what we had. We're also going to talk about divine masculines in our process today, because it's something that we all are very curious all the time, that what is happening with them? What is happening while they are in silence? Why they don't reach out to me? Why they are distant? But the distance is often the one that hides the deep transformation and internal awakening. And we talk about what are these unseen spiritual things that are happening while you are in distance. And about the silence, how silence is often very much misunderstood. But it's a very, very powerful teacher on this path. And I know, again, your mind would go, if somebody wants me, they would make an effort. How many times you have said to yourself, and we hear this quote, if someone wants you, they would take an effort, they would say to you. But sometimes we are very, very confused on this path. We feel something so divine and something so deep that we don't know what to say. And we have built an ego around protecting us. And now we have to be different. And when there is a silence, it allows us to hear about our own soul. We learn to trust the divine timing and to surrender control. And within this stillness where we are at, we start to breathe again. We start to feel again. We start to understand again. So why I want to talk about it today is the fact that on this journey we feel we need to figure it out. Our mind comes to the point where we stay like, I have to know what is happening. I have to control this. I am going to remove, I'm going to block, I'm going to send a message, a lot of things from the mind. But remind yourself again, when you met your so-called twin flame, it was energetic. It was something that happened that you cannot explain. It's very powerful. So now let's go to the first part, that healing is not linear. And I know many of you are suffering with this, that you feel so good, you feel so aligned, you come to the activation, you feel I'm alive, I'm in oneness. And 1 month later, you feel like nothing is working out. Nothing is happening to me. But I want to say that healing is not something that we can say like a perfection, meaning of that you're going to get there and now you're going to be there and now you are this, you stay in that state forever. It's somehow like a spiral. So think of it, it's like a spiral that keeps returning us to the same themes, but from a new layers of awareness. So every time you have healed some part of you, you have transformed something inside of you, the life gives you a similar situation to see where you are at. So meaning of, for example, people, myself included, can tell, oh, I don't no longer feel anything. I am absolutely in control with myself. I am in this inner peace. I remember myself. I am so surrendered. And then the life gives me immediately a test in a real life, how I'm going to react on it. And I react in a complete different ways. Often what happens during this time is that your twin appears back in your life. And then they message you or they tell you or you see each other or whatever is going to happen there. And you will be like, wow, they're back. And now you start controlling what to say, how to say, what to do, how to be on this thing, in this relationship, how to be a better version of you. And the universe realizes, you still have your ego. Let me remove, so-called, the twin from your life. Because you are still trying to control it. It was me. I remember when I was in very much of this, after the Lion's Gate and all of this, I was very much like, now I get it, I understand. And of course, who reaches out was my twin. And I spiraled. I started to control what I'm going to say, how I'm going to say, what I'm going to do. And the universe was smart again to show me, So what is happening in spiritually? This happens because healing is not about erasing the past. And that's another thing. We often think I need to let go of my past. I need to, everything that was in my past was bad, so I'm going to erase this, and it's never happened to me. But actually it's about transforming our relationship to it. How are we going to use this now? You know, there are sayings in this world as well. For example, children can grow up in an environment, let's say one parent is an alcoholic. And one kid becomes an alcoholic and the other one takes another path. Same past. They had the same past, but they chose to do it differently. Both of them differently. So that's the thing, is we don't erase the past. We now transform it. We are not no longer the victims of the past. Victims of the relationships, if you had toxic relationships, or if you were never chosen. Twin Flame Journey, or whoever is the designer, God, creator, source, whoever is very intelligent. We cannot fool it. It's not about fooling it. It's not about the words we're going to say. It's not about how much we're going to repeat something. It's about how much we're going to shift our frequency to it and our belief system. If somewhere deep in your belief system is a truth or belief that I'm not good enough, or I will not be able to deserve this kind of love, and I have to hold on to this love, because if I don't hold on to this love, the love will not choose me. Or I'm not going to have this or that, whatever is there. And sometimes we don't know that. We have no idea that we are believing this. But the truth is, your energetic field knows it. Sometimes when people come to me, I feel I'm repeating sometimes everywhere today. So if your mantra is going to be sometimes today, then I apologize for that. But when people come to me, they tell me, you see, nothing in my life works out. My job is not working out. My relationships are always the same. And I'm like, well, what's happening in your energetic field? What's going on there? And same for me. Each one of you who I meet, who I talk to, reflects always for me something. And my twin was the number one who showed me. So now happens when each time we revisit the pain, we start to bring more light, more compassion, more understanding to it. So it's not that you do it one time, although I'm going to mention, absolutely. For some of us, it can be one time, and you are absolutely changed and shift. But it's like you're going back and forth. And I've said that many times. Why so-called, let's say, divine masculines, or overall, let's say men in general, because I have less men listeners and I know we have more females here. But I love when the men are coming through, because it just makes me so happy of knowing that you're tapping into your inner power and who you are. But what happens is with the healing is that it's like a bit of like a torture. That you feel like, I let go of already of this. And then you go all the way back and you're feeling it again. And you're asking, what is happening? Why am I feeling this again and again? I thought I'm done with that. But it's like a step by step. And that's why many of us are not stepping into the healing. We're stepping into avoidance. It's so much easier. It's so much easier to step into avoidance, although I don't understand I don't understand easy in that when we take drugs or we drink or we engage in certain, let's say, gambling, pornography, like this kind of unhealthy habits. I don't think it's easier at all. But it feels easy for your mind because it's distraction for a moment for your mind. You know, how many times I've heard when people say, I had such a hard week, I need wine. I'm not against wine. You can drink as much as you wish. Everything is good. But is that for you to avoid, to reflect what was hard for you, what happened, or you don't know how to actually to relax? Wine is great. I mean, it tastes good, wonderful. But the question is why we're using it. And that's with everything. And many of us don't step into. So that's why we can see, and myself included, when I was in this massive pain, all I could think of how I can present that I am the happiest freaking person. And this is my coping mechanism. I noticed that I have a hard time to, when I don't, now of course I know much better, but back then I could get myself very busy when I don't know what to do. And same with your twin in that sense. So scientifically, when we talk of a scientific perspective of healing, the nervous system is also not healing in a one direction. It's not something that happens that you do it now, this, and it happens. We know that from the brain. It simply rewires through repetition, safety, and presence. And safety and trust are one of the most important part when it comes to healing. That's why when you find a healer for yourself, whoever is there, the trust is a very important part. Because if you don't have a trust, you don't surrender into the energy. And especially when, like I've always said, I'm not a believer that anyone has a bad intentions. But what I mean is when you do not feel connected, listen to your body. And maybe you find someone who's going to be there and you feel connected. So somehow things that we can call like a relapse, or you are going backwards, and are actually, so now what it is, are actually your body's way of testing whether the new frequency can hold under pressure. And this is something I say, that when you feel you're falling backwards in your healing, and you have a day, let's say you have a week where you feel, oh my God, the world is mine, I understand the journey. And then the week later, you're literally falling apart. I often do this on first calls. People who have a first calls with me, I do the mini activation. And I explain about it, that for the first 21 days, you are going to have the days where you feel, wow, it makes so much sense. And then the next day you feel, oh my God, this is absolute disaster. So what it is about healing, it unfolds in an integration process. Because this new nervous system needs to learn the safety. The safety is everything. The heart needs to learn to trust. And the soul is going to remember that everything that is falling apart is guiding us closer to union. Not outside of us, but within us. So the soul knows that everything that is falling apart is actually guiding us closer to union. And how many times I've heard that, this is happening, look, they got married, or they had this, or my twin is doing this, my twin is moving away, I'm like, and it's happening actually for a very, very good reason. And there was this other day, a beautiful soul. I mentioned her on the podcast before, and she came on a channeling session. I'm going to say over here as well that I'm very careful of sharing these kind of things, but I just want to share this for the fact that what happens in a sense of when there is a silence, and we're going to go into that all today. She came on a call and she told me that there has been like 8 weeks of silence. And she said to me that I don't think he's going to reach out. I think it's going to be 1 or 2 years. And I said, well, we're going to look into your energetic field. We're going to see what is over there. I'm going to say a side note here. The reason I share this is of talking about energetic field. I do not want you to have that impression that, oh, I come to B and B will channel me and the magic will start to happen. No, the magic will start to happen when we shift and change your frequency. And the same was with this beautiful soul. She came on a call and she said, you know, B, I have been doing your heart kriya. I love the heart kriya. So those who haven't done that, it's on Patreon. You become younger, more radiant, more healthier, all of these things. So do the heart kriya. Then I did your Jupiter kriya. Every morning I do this kriya, then I do Satnam, then I do this, then I do your activations. It's like, I can see. I can see your energetic field is absolutely blossoming. And energy doesn't lie. For me, like people can, let's say, for example, I always say that you don't have to listen what I say. You don't have to connect to me at all. But if you see something that there is, perhaps this is guiding you, that energy. I don't do these kriyas or energy activations to prove anything to anyone. I have nothing to prove. I always say, you are the one who is going to see these results. I see it, and I'm going to be honest, yes, I am passionate about it. Because seeing you growing, glowing, living in your truth, that makes this world a beautiful place. Anyways, what I tried to say was that she came and she said, I think it's going to be 2 years, we won't talk. And I tapped into her energetic field. And I said to her, he wants to reach out. He wants to talk to you. And on that day was also that I had to reschedule my appointment a little bit because I had to take our spiritual baby to the doctor. Nothing serious, just a checkup. I know so many of you are living for the Lily. You just sending me so beautiful messages asking all about our spiritual baby. And she is absolutely fine. So I just give it a side note. And anyways, so we moved the appointment. And again, what I tried to say, we had to move the appointment. Because of what? Because something happened during that, our real appointment was supposed to be. So, and I tell her that no, on your energetic field, he wants to reach out, he wants to tell you something, and there is something he knows now more about that connection. And just a couple of hours later, that wasn't a couple of hours later, I think it was an hour later, he reached out after 8 weeks of silence. Again, I'm going to put here the side note. It's not about when you book a call with me and we do the channeling that this is going to happen. I only read your energy. I read the energetic field. So I tell you what is there. I can't control it. I can't shift it. I can't change it. But you can. So I share this for the fact that sometimes we try to think from the mind and it will become our truth, while your energetic field is telling absolutely differently. And so now let's step into the understanding. When we talked about it last time, I really briefly mentioned, and I just said to you that try to imagine that in a situation you are at the moment that is not happening and it feels like something is protecting you. So I know that many of us, when we come to this twin flame journey, we will feel that I will step into the healing or transformation, or I'll do meditation, because that's what you hear, that you need to go within in order to get my twin back. And then there are times on this twin flame journey, or overall when you have a deep soul connection, when nothing seems to move. You feel like you're doing everything, but the communication is getting less and less. Physical connection feels absolutely impossible. And somehow the separation seems endless. But now exactly I will ask you, but what if this pause is actually a divine protection? And I really would like you, if you're listening to this podcast today, take that moment that this pause in between was actually a protection. In a sense of spiritually, normally when we have periods of stillness, that's the time where these sacred intervals are designed to prevent premature union. So-called premature union in a relationship-wise. Because somehow the true 3D union, the one of the relationship, which you agreed with your soul coming here, some of us are going to have a relationship. Some of us are going to have a friendship. Some of us are going to have just that activation and knowing that I did that to you. But somehow this true union can only happen when both of the counterparts are energetically stable. and aligned with the divine rather than a human attachment. So sometimes the universe holds it back what we think we want to give us, but what we truly need. And what we truly need is the embodiment of divine love. So when the union actually happens, or the relationship actually happens, it's not built on trauma or fear, but freedom and balance. And another day I had this somebody, I think it was some post I came across with, and there was a saying that not every breakup, not every thing you come across is not a twin flame journey. And I totally agree. If we break up with someone and it feels painful, every breakup is going to feel painful, but it doesn't necessarily mean immediately that it's your twin flame or the twin flame journey. But it nevertheless doesn't mean that you shouldn't heal and transform yourself, because what we often do is we go from one relationship to another relationship with the baggage that we had before, and we go and destroy somebody else. I think it was David. What is David's last name? We all follow him. He said he had another day a very beautiful message that you're calling in your soulmate. And you call David Kiam, do I pronounce it? And there was a post about this, that you're manifesting your soulmate, you want your soulmate, you want all of that, but then you're not healed. Because we all want love, there is no doubt in that. We want to be in love, it's so beautiful. But if you're not yet healed fully, and what happens is you call in a soulmate and you don't know actually how to treat them. And the other way around, they don't, let's say you are someone's soulmate and they have manifested, and then you go into their life and it's going to be a hell, and then we call this as a karmic. But it might not have been. What it means is you haven't healed the parts of you that you took an emotional baggage. The nervous system is not in a place. And that is hard. And we need to change and shift that. So regardless of twin flame journey or not a twin flame journey, the wonderful thing is why we talk about twin flames is because it triggered your spiritual awakening. That's what it makes it very different from any other relationship. Most of the time, your kundalini gets activated when you meet your twin flame or you're starting to have the separation. But it is there. It's part of this journey. But also, for me, it really doesn't matter no longer so much about twin flame or not a twin flame. What for me matters is that you get to live your life from your authentic truth, from the connection within, and embody this love. Because then you're going to meet your energetic match and you're going to have the magic. Yes, your twin flame is here to activate you, and that's a gift. Your twin flame is your gift. But what comes from there on is a gift too. So now coming back about it, what is about the protection? Because so many of us are thinking, if I am going to have my twin flame or my other divine counterpart in my life, all of the things will be resolved. And the truth is, no. I work now a lot with so-called twin flame couples together. I'm just going to say that if you are not in alignment, and many of them actually now are coming and saying, I love what you do because it makes us closer, it brings us closer, because sometimes we don't know how. But now, and so why I say this, that because of our mind works, if I have this, I am happy. You know that our mind is endless. It's never going to be happy. You will never find the happiness in your mind. Because it's with everything. Let's say you're dreaming, if I will have this dream job, I will be happy. You get the dream job, you start thinking of the next one already. If you have, let's say you're thinking, if I will have this car, I will be so happy. You get this car, you start already dreaming of the next one. Our mind is endless. It doesn't know how to be happy. It just knows how to create more of this lack, separation, all of this. It's all the time craving for more and more and more and more. I'm never gonna be happy. But the peace and happiness is within you. And that's what we are doing here, apart from the healing. And sometimes it can mean that you can be happy without the person. I know you don't like me saying this at all, but I say this because you can be actually. It doesn't mean we have to be alone our life. I mean, I don't mean that. But what I mean is sometimes you can be with somebody and you can be tremendously unhappy. And it doesn't mean you're happy. So when the when the union appears to be delayed, it's actually not random, and this is another thing you need to surrender into. And it's a law of the vibration and resonance in action. And this is one of the most fundamental universal law. We know that I spoke about the universal laws previously. Everything in creation operates by frequency. Like energy attracts like energy. And so-called the physical and emotional union cannot manifest in both energies if both energies are not yet vibrating at the complete resonance. It doesn't happen. You attract who you are. So and now you would think, but I am in alignment, I am happy. Okay, now let me just ask you a question. Are you happy just by yourself without the need of having the person? If not, that's okay. That's absolutely okay. It's not a problem. But just think about it for a second. So when the universe, God, creator, however we're going to call it, is creating this separation, it is not a punishment. And I know it feels like one. It's where we are now coming to the oneness. And I spoke about the healing. I speak about this because you have the magic wand to do that. Both souls are now being attuned into a shared energetic wavelength. So many of you are asking me, how can I feel my twin? How is it happening? Yes, you can. I can feel so many of you so often. And sometimes you are in my energetic space and I'm like, hello, my dear. I love you too. Take a moment. You can do it. I feel you. I see you in my dreams. I know I appear in your dreams. So same is with your twin. It's not mumbo jumbo, me making this up. So, and both as you are in the same energetic wavelength that you can sustain this divine love. Not conditional, not based on need or fear, but it's a soul level oneness. I had this another day in the sense of thinking that, we are not made to be alone. No, not at all. But sometimes we are willing to accept anything because we are in lack so much that we are like, I need that. But that's where we have to shift. And so now from the higher perspective, your guides, your higher self, and the universal intelligence are protecting you from the connection of distortion. Because somehow if two souls come together, or like one, you come together and you're prematured, before any emotional regulation, karmic clearer, or ego death, or all of these things that we go through, it might not work out. So if you have a chance today, start thinking that this separation is a gift and a grace. So how do you know that you are protected? How do you know that instead of this silence is not based on the egos or things like this? How do you know that you are protected right now on this journey? You know that you are if you know you are protected, not because that everything feels so easy, but you start sensing it, that something is holding me. For example, a plan that you had falls apart. A message will not appear. And later you realize it's again repeating you the old cycle. So there can be situations where you feel like you need to rest more. You need to go back. You need to go inward. You don't know why. You don't know what is happening, what is there. And so there you are. And you think again, nothing is working out. My health is bad. I am this. But think about it, that it's actually working towards you. We humans have this, that when something so-called bad happens, we tend to believe immediately that it happens for a bad reason. But what if it happens to protect you? So when the universe speaks to you through numbers, dreams, or songs, it's not because your counterpart. It's because if your counterpart is not able to communicate you with consciously. So the spirit takes over, and the spirit starts showing you, why do we see the repetitive numbers? And whoever is the 717 and 777 and all of the 7 in my life right now, please come forward. Because it's already getting for me as a joke already. Because I don't know who it is, and I can't put my finger on it. But it's like everywhere with me. Anyways, I'm thankful that the spirit is here and communicating with me. I don't know what message is there, but something beautiful and deep, and it makes me happy. And when at some point on this journey, and I've said that to many, even if there is no contact, you start to feel safe, loved, and whole. And this is also a proof of divine protection. Your higher self is now leading the way. So ideally, the purpose of in between the stages is bring you home to your own divine essence. And we know that. The universe protects us, the external union, until both of inner unions, but that you are in the inner union between your own masculine and feminine energies. And that's why I say we have both of these. And the more we are using these words, I am divine feminine, you are divine masculine, this is what is happening. The more we gather this information from the mind and from the past, the more we are creating a separation. Because spirituality or spirit doesn't have the labels. It doesn't care about these things. But the thing is, the more you repeat them, the more you're creating separation. I'm not saying that we shouldn't use them when we try to explain something, but try to see that as a one picture. So now going to the next, exactly to the next phase of here, the divine masculine's inner process, like we call it. Again, I use this term just because of its used, but it's not the truth. So while so-called you, the divine feminine, you are experiencing this journey emotionally, energetically, you're feeling a wave of separations and longing. The divine masculine is more in the inward, more hidden. And why? Because spiritually, the masculine energy learns through the pressure, through the weight of responsibility, and collapse of the ego structure. So meaning of the ego has to die. But I'm going to say you here, on this journey, you shift roles. And that's another thing that many of you don't like me to say, that. You do shift the roles. There are times where you can be the runner, and there are times where you can be the chaser. But I know that you're listening to this podcast while you are the chaser. But don't be surprised if you change that at one point. But when so-called your twin flame is, the masculine part is in a silence or withdrawn, it's actually not about rejection at all. That's the time where they are getting rid of the illusions of control and strength, so that they can become who they are. And of course, it comes with vulnerability and surrender. And that's something very hard for all of us. You know that by yourself. And when we now talk about, and so you might be thinking, do they feel it? Do they know it? Do they go through it? Absolutely. No doubt in that. No doubt in that. But silence is their way of avoiding it, becoming a cocoon, the protection, as they integrate deep karmic and ancestral patterns. And while it feels like an avoidance, it's actually invisible initiation. And they are going to awaken. So, and why I talk about it is that there's no point of thinking if they will awaken or not. They will. Absolutely, they will. But it does not mean the way you were thinking how it's going to happen. Because if you have an expectation how it's going to happen, and you try to control this and you need to guide them, you need to tell them, you're not letting their spirit, their soul to have the process. So don't think of what they're going to do. And again, I'm going to say it sounds very, very easy. Don't think. How I cannot think. All I do is I'm thinking of this person. I know that. I've been there. But if you learn to go within, you start to see the truth. And the power of silence is not emptiness. And the silence is where we start to listen to the voice of the soul. And silence teaches us about surrender, patience, and deep trust in timing. And in the power of silence, you learn the ability to relieve what is truly meant for you will happen to you. Because if everything else around you becomes quiet, what you hear is the truth. And when you hear your truth, you know what happens. I know many of you can think that it's like when I have that person, and I hear many times how people are willing to change and shift themselves into shaping for that person. And here I really, really want to stop you. Twin flame or not a twin flame, don't change or shift yourself, your true self, because that's the whole idea of your twin flame awakening, was for you to become who you truly are, from the rawest and from the most beautiful way who you truly are. And if this other person, twin flame or not a twin flame, does not see that, please do not change yourself from the alignment. I can see it often. If I would be like this, if I would do this, no, my love. You were supposed to become you and speak your truth. That's why in our workshops and everything, I'll do different levels of speaking your truth, channeling the energies, opening your energy centers, changing your vibrations. So many things are different because I wanted that you find you. And I know some people are willing to, let's say their twin flame is mean to them, says to them mean things and all of these things. And I'm like, what? Why? And you would like to have a relationship like this? No, honey, you don't want to have a relationship like that. Can it change and shift? Absolutely. Although in general, or normally, twin flames, they are not mean to each other. They don't say, at least my twin never ever said anything negative about me. Did he comment about the fact that I chose my family, about that I didn't choose him? And yes, of course. Of course he did. And he has a human right to do that, but he would never cross the line because of, like he said, I am something extraordinary in his life that changed his life. And so he did to me. But he would not cross of saying anything about my life decisions or choices. And I'm very thankful for that. So normally there is no such a thing of, but why when we think of it, I will have this person in my life and I will be happy, and why are they with somebody else? It's okay. And one of the biggest fears I know in this twin flame journey, we have the fact that my twin will choose somebody else or get married to somebody else. Well, then it was meant to be this way. That's it. Stop controlling other people's lives. It will not work out. What's meant for you will be there. It will be there. The more you are allowing it. If you are worrying today, if I let go of, I remember when there was this information that, which I disagree with today a little bit, but I mean, disagreement is, doesn't matter. But I remember when there was this story about you need to remove them, all of your messages, all of the phone numbers, etc., that you will get to do the detox. And I remember parts of me were worrying that, but if I do this, I'll lose this connection forever. But now I have learned what's meant for you, whether there is a phone or no phone or social media presence or not, it will appear in your life. It will just come, and it was yours. And that comes from the healing the feminine energy. So coming back to this, why we call it divine feminine, because you need to heal the feminine energy of allowing things to come in your life, not to be in control. And I was the number one. I've spoken so much about it, but I'm just, if you're first time here listening, it's the feminine energy healing. And I want to just talk a little bit about today of the other models, are breathwork and kundalini healing. Because I practice both, and I love holotropic breathwork because it can open your DMT. You get to have an amazing experience. And breath is life. As we know, it's the bridge between body and spirit. And when we use the breath for the healing part, it starts to also awaken the dormant energy inside of you. And when we exhale, we release what the body has been carrying for years or even lifetimes. And we know that, I think it's with breath, I might be a little bit wrong now, but 80% of the toxins can be released through your breath. Deep breathing. I'm not doing the subtle breathing, what we do daily. As a matter of fact, most of us don't even know how we breathe. We don't breathe properly. So, in a sense of breathwork is the key to prana, to the life force, the same life force like the kundalini we use. And you can, yes, activate your kundalini through the breathwork. So both of these are very powerful. I always say to people who have a problem with the control, myself included, I was very in a control state. So having a breath work, especially holotropic breath work, where you breathe around 2 hours in a row, try to breathe very deeply for 2 hours. Your rib cage will be destroyed afterwards. You will eventually lose the control, because it's just the body starts to take over, the kundalini starts to take over. So using breath work and kundalini together is very powerful. We do that in the retreats, so you get to experience, or in the workshops as well. Anyways, this is what I wanted to share today, and open your eyes a little bit that nothing is here working against you. It's all working towards you. You have the magical wand to shift and change your frequency. You perhaps need some guidance sometimes here and there. You need to hear some words or music or something you need to know where to go, the next step. But nothing is working against you, especially on this journey. The journey is way too intelligent for your mind to figure this out. Let it just happen. Let it unfold. Let it be. So again, I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. I know it was a little break over here, but I'm here always. If any of you would like to join the workshops, we have on 26th of September a magical inner dance by Pai Valaratsa energy. I hope you will enjoy that, because for me, Pi is absolutely phenomenal healer. I am a phenomenal person who channeled this magical power. And then for the retreats, you can sign up on the website. Information is coming out for the Bali, for the Italy, for the Cyprus next year, not yet. And whoever is on a waiting list will have it first. And for others who feel that they want to connect, they want to see what is their energy, where is it at, how can I change, how can I shift, or how to make this happen, twinflameawakeningjourney.com, whenever you feel ready. But I'm just going to say your soul knows when you're ready. So take this with you today, that nothing is delayed, it's just preparing you for the best to come. Lots of love and light.
We fell in love at a bad time. Getting insecure, questioning myself on the way down. Now I'm so tired of breathing underwater. I just wanna float like a ship made out of paper. Right now I need to take care of myself, comfort in myself, like a roller coaster. One week I am up, next one I'll be down, but I'm getting closer to a stronger me, feeling free, like a roller coaster. Stronger me, feeling free, like a roller coaster. Grandpa used to ask why I'm single with such a pretty face. Where is your man? You should go out and chase him. Now I'm so tired of breathing underwater. I just wanna float like a ship made out of paper. So now I'm about to take care of myself, comfort in myself, like a roller coaster. One week I am up, next one I'll be down, but I'm getting closer to a stronger me, feeling free, like a roller coaster. Stronger me, feeling free, like a roller coaster. Don't need anyone else. I just wanna be for myself.